Good morning, dear students. In part 21, first of all, I beg your pardon because one mistake was done in that. So this is Heisenberg uncertainty principle. What it says, it is impossible to determine simultaneously the exact position and exact momentum of a macroscopic particle with absolute accuracy and certainty. So everything was okay, but I have gone wrong in telling you where. Please make correction. So this is a correction what you have to make. The corrections are, compared to yesterday's part 21, corrections, okay, of part 21. That is, this is 21 corrections of part 20, okay? Corrections of part 20. What are the corrections? Only two corrections are there, or three corrections will be there, where delta x, what I written there, is exact position of the particle, not exact position. Delta x is, please remember, uncertainty. I am sorry, होश में जोश खो बैठे, so जोश में होश खो बैठे, sorry for that. Uncertainty in position. Uncertainty in position. Okay, of the particle. So in part 20, it was written as exact, that is wrong. So this is delta x is uncertainty in position, and delta px is uncertainty in momentum. Is uncertainty in momentum, is uncertainty in momentum, and delta Vx will be, is uncertainty in velocity, is uncertainty in velocity, okay, of the particles. Uncertainty, okay, in velocity. So please make this correction. This is not exact, it is uncertainty, because the principle itself says it is impossible to determine the exact position and exact momentum. Hence, it should be, by mistake I have written there, exact position, exact momentum, that was wrong, and exact velocity. So these three should be changed. So this exact that was written in part 20, it should be replaced by this. This is wrong. Okay? Exact is wrong. Uncertainty in position, uncertainty in momentum, and uncertainty in velocity, and remaining things are correct, no problem. So as usual, h is Planck's constant, same repetition. H is Planck's constant, and its value already you know. Okay? H is Planck's constant, and pi is your mathematics pi, 22 upon 7 or 3.14. Okay? And m is mass of the particle. M is mass of a particle. So equation 1, mass of the particle, that we are going to take. So this is mathematical representation. It was correct. Mathematically. Give the mathematical expression or mathematically represent Heisenberg uncertainty principle means delta x into delta px is more than or equal to h upon 2 pi. So where delta x is, px is momentum, and momentum is equal to mass into velocity, m into vx. We are going to substitute here, in place of px, we are going to substitute m into vx, mass being the fixed one, mass is not going to, mass of a particle is a constant, and hence only velocity can change. Hence we take delta for only Vx, not for mass. And then a comment on this is very simple. If delta x, okay, is more quantity, if delta x, okay, is larger, if delta x is larger, then if delta x is larger, then delta px will be small. Delta px is small. Because right hand side h is constant, 4 pi is constant, and mass will be constant. So totally this will be constant. So this product should be equal to more than or equal to h upon 4 pi m, which is a constant value, and hence just like it is Boyle's law, PV is equal to constant. If P increases, volume decreases. If volume increases, pressure decreases. Because the product should be equal to constant or more than constant, and hence if delta x is larger, your delta px will be small, okay? And similarly, delta px is small or delta vx is small. Delta vx is small, okay? And vice versa. I hope you know the meaning of vice versa. And vice versa means opposite of this. That means if delta x is a smaller value, then delta px will be larger value. That is what we call aisa versa, ulta palta. Okay? And then we have commented two things that are correct. So this is applicable since mass is in the denominator. Okay? And hence once again just like your de Broglie equation, so this will be applicable only for smaller mass or macroscopic particle. This is not applicable for, okay, larger macroscopic particle. Or you can say Heisenberg uncertainty principle is negligible. Okay, so this effect, the effect of Heisenberg, I will write it in shortcut, Heisenberg uncertainty principle. The effect of uncertainty principle, the effect of Heisenberg uncertainty principle is negligible for larger or macroscopic objects, okay, and it is applicable, opposite of negligible is considerable, applicable or considerable only for microscopic particles like electron and subatomic particles. And here we are going to mainly use it for, okay, electron. We are applying this particularly for electron, and hence, okay, we are applying this particularly for electron. Electron being a microscopic particle, Heisenberg uncertainty principle effect will be sufficiently considerable, and hence we are going to apply to this. So this is your Heisenberg uncertainty principle. I repeated many times. Only the mistake that was, I have written delta x is exact, which cannot be determined. Hence delta x is uncertainty, anischitete, okay, in position, and delta px is uncertainty in momentum, or if you break it px into m into vx, delta vx will be uncertainty in velocity. Okay. Then very important point. What is the significance? Okay. What is the significance or what is the importance of Heisenberg uncertainty principle? What is the importance or what is the significance they are going to ask you? So, important is significance. Mahatva, significance. What is the important significance or importance? What is the use of this? Significance or importance. What is the important significance or importance of Heisenberg uncertainty principle? Uncertainty principle. Okay? So one of the important use or significance is, first point, he gave a good blow or a good kick to your Bohr model. Okay? So significance or importance of HBU principle, Heisenberg uncertainty principle is, okay, is it rejects, okay, the new thing discovered by Bohr was straightway rejected. It rejects the existence of, it rejects the existence of certain okay, circular paths, certain circular paths for whom? These were the homes constructed by Bohr to the electron. They were houses of electrons. So this rejects, tiraskarisu, the existence of certain circular paths, okay, or orbits, okay, or orbits. So the orbits were the discovery of Bohr according to his assumption, but now this will, okay, reject the existence of orbits. Why is it to be rejected? Can you tell me? Suppose if you are going to have an electron here, imagine it is an electron, okay? If this electron is moving, okay, remember what Bohr said? Electron is revolving around the nucleus in circular paths, okay, certain circular paths of fixed radius and fixed energy. Then according to Bohr, this orbit must be a running track in a ground, So we cannot say a person, or we cannot make compulsory a person to run on the track only, highly impossible. When you are gaining velocity, when you are running with the speed, you cannot concentrate on the track and you can run, highly impossible. So hence, you are allowed to run in between. Remember, wherever you are going to run, if you are a good sportsman, if you are a good runner, so you are allowed to run in between the track. Okay, not exactly on the track. And in the same way, what? According to Heisenberg uncertainty principle, so what it argues, if electron is moving, okay, it cannot maintain this path. It cannot maintain this path when it is continuously oscillating or continuously revolving. It may come here, it may go here, and hence it will take some space. It may be anywhere. If electron is not moving, then its position is fixed in the orbit. If electron is fixed, then it cannot move. Then if the moving electron its position cannot be determined according to Heisenberg uncertainty principle. And if electron is fixed in a position, then its velocity cannot be determined. So you understand where the Bohr went mistake, or Bohr argument was an electron is revolving continuously around the nucleus in certain circular paths, or certain or fixed. Certain or fixed circular paths, they are called orbits, that is K, L, M, N, like that. So just like you can imagine the running tracks in a ground, so that what he said. And example I gave you, a person, a student, a runner is running, then if he has to run, he will run in between the track. We cannot make him compulsory to run only on that line particular. In the same way, what Heisenberg principle is going to argue, if electron is continuously revolving, it cannot exist in the same orbit. It may go here and there. And if you are going to say that electron is going to exist in the orbit, if you are going to fix the position, then it cannot rotate, it cannot revolve. Because the position of electron and its momentum both cannot be determined at the same time. If it's delta x is more, delta px will be small. If delta x is small, delta px will be more, and hence we cannot identify both, and hence the existence of orbits was rejected. So what is the significance of Heisenberg uncertainty principle means? So it rejects the existence of certain fixed, circular paths or orbits. Then another one, of course not given in the book, but you can write it. It gave birth to an idea. It gave birth to an idea, of suborbits. Idea of suborbits. It gave birth to an idea of suborbits, with particular shapes. It was a circular path, and now this gave rise to, gave birth to an idea of suborbits with particular shapes and orbitals. So I will give you the differences between orbits and orbitals. Orbits is a circular path in which electron was expected to revolve, but orbit's existence is not possible. If electrons are continuously revolving, they will leave the track. Then Heisenberg principle, along with Schrödinger, that we are going to study, quantum mechanical model, the latest model for you for PUC first year. So after studying Bohr model, we are going for the last model, quantum mechanical model, and that quantum mechanical model we are going to consider suborbits, and suborbits are written by orbitals. These are S, P, D. I will explain, of course, afterwards. S, P, D, yeah. And these orbitals, in S there will be no suborbitals, and P orbitals you will have Px, Py, Pz. That I will continue afterwards. So the important significance of Heisenberg uncertainty principle is it has rejected the existence of orbits for electrons. Then the new idea came, they gave birth to an idea of suborbits with a particular shapes and orbitals, and these have space, because since they have particular shapes, they have particular space. So within that space, okay, electron may move anywhere, just like it is. So this is a wall of a classroom. Wall of a classroom. This is your orbit. But he said the electrons are not revolving in the wall, but they are present in between anywhere. So orbitals is the space where the probability of existing electron is possible. So this is your Heisenberg uncertainty principle. So what is the importance? It give a good blow, or it give a big blow or kick to Bohr, okay, idea of orbits. So Bohr said orbits are present, Rutherford cannot say anything, but Bohr tried to say, okay, orbits, these were orbits were the rooms or homes for electron, but Heisenberg uncertainty principle disproved it, because he said if electron is moving, if you are going to measure its velocity, then position cannot be identified exactly and correctly. And if the exact position of electron is in orbit, no problem, but it cannot move. And hence electron, either it should be present in the orbit or it must be moving anywhere around the nucleus. So some space should be given to it. And hence from orbits to, next we are going for orbitals in a quantum mechanical model. Okay? So this was Heisenberg uncertainty principle. Delta x is uncertainty in position, and delta px is uncertainty in momentum, and delta px is uncertainty in velocity. And problems you may get on this, but I am going to solve, because those who are going to concentrate on problems for competitive exams, at least they should know how to solve the problems on this. So if you take one problem I have solved, second problem I am going to continue. Okay, that is the second problem. One problem I solved on de Broglie equation, and another one I am going to solve on de Broglie equation only. Okay, so that is okay. Calculate the mass of, calculate the mass of, okay, a photon, that is light energy pocket, okay, photon, not proton, with wavelength, 3.6 angstrom units. 3.6 unit given is angstrom. This you have to change it to meter, remember. Okay? Because we are going to study, okay, wavelength in meters. So, what are the things given to you? Wavelength, lambda is given. Question asked is mass, okay, and photon is asked. The photon is nothing but light. So in case of light, phi will be equal to c, okay, and hence the solution will be from de Broglie equation. From de Broglie equation, what you can write? Lambda is equal to h upon mv, but now you can change this v to, therefore this is equal to h upon mc, okay, for light or for photon, okay. Then what we want? We want m. Therefore, m is equal to h upon lambda into c. So h already you know, 6.626 6.626 into 10 to the power of minus 34, 10 to the power of minus 34 divided by lambda given already 3.6. 1 angstrom is equal to 1 angstrom is equal to conversion factor 10 to the power of minus 10 meter. Therefore, this is multiplied by 10 to the power of minus 10 meter and then multiplied by velocity of light c, you know very well, 3 into 10 to the power of 8 meter per second. Meter per second. And here you will get kg. And finally, when you calculate this, you should get the answer 6.135. 6.135, okay, into 10 to the power of minus 10. 10 to the power of minus 30, sorry. 10 to the power of minus 30, okay, kg, kilogram, okay. So, this is what you have to remember. So, you will get joule second. Joule should be converted into kg meter square, already I told you. So, that you have to convert it. Then you will get the answer for this. Then, if you want one more, no problem about that. Okay, dear students, we are continuing the same. So, this will be in joule second, H will be in joule second, and your meter, and this will be 3 into 10 to the power of 8 meter per second. Now, you know very well, this you should know always, joule is equal to kg meter square and s to the power of minus 2. And if you just calculate your units, m will be equal to, that will be joule if you replace it, kg meter square per second square into second divided by what is remaining, m of this and m per second. Okay, m per second. So what happens? This second cancels with this per second cancels with per second, so this is gone. This is gone. Then this m into m is m square, this will cancel with this. And hence you are going to get here kg. Okay? Don't confuse. In the examination, in the book, the units will be given in kg. How that kg came, don't worry. The kg came because we are going to substitute the value of joule as, okay, joule as kg meter square, second square, second. So J, yes, this is all your J. This is all means it is your J, and S is already there. Everything cancels, and lastly we get kg. So this is another simple example for de Broglie equation. But remember, dear students, photon is given here. So photon means, you have to remember, phi is equal to c. Otherwise you cannot solve the problem. According to de Broglie equation, lambda is equal to h upon mv, and here v for a particle, photon is also a particle, and hence we are going to substitute. So I will continue with another problem on Heisenberg uncertainty principle in next my part 22. Thank you, dear students.